The GOAT debate. One of the most contentious debates in all of sports, but especially the NBA. The greatest player of all time, or the greatest of all time. Seems to be narrowed down to two, even though some will throw in other names such as Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul Jabbar, Bill Russell, the list goes on. But as of now, the barbershop talk is Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. I think that's getting a little bit quieter from the LeBron side of things with him at this age, at 38, even though that's an advanced age. Many thought that that Laker team would advance to the NBA Finals and could possibly get that fifth ring for LeBron. But that didn't happen. They were swept. Now we have some contemplation by LeBron James for retirement. So I think that's kind of quieting some of his fanatics about the GOAT debate. But I'm sure it'll, if he comes back next year, it'll rise again. But I just want to talk about one thing missing that we kind of overlooked in the GOAT debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And interesting enough, I heard someone bring this up watching I think a YouTube clip or a Facebook reel or something like that. And it made me think about this hot topic, this great debate. It was saying that when Michael Jordan was at his peak, when he was just the man from about 1988 till he retired from the Bulls. We're not going to talk about Wizards Jordan right now, but from the Bulls in 98, he was considered the greatest player in the NBA. There might have been some teams that maybe they said Mike was having a hard time getting over, but there was no player that was being compared to Michael Jordan as far as this guy's the greatest player in the NBA. I mean, technically, many felt like Jordan could have won the MVP every year. They just kind of gave it as a consolation prize to some of the other guys who Mike was just keeping away from a title. So they had to give him something to help them feel a little better about themselves, since he was blocking them from anything else. But you look at the other side of the fence with LeBron James. Essentially, there's another player that's name comes up in the GOAT debate that played in his era, that won championships during his era. And we know that is Kobe Bryant. Even to a lesser extent, Tim Duncan. He played, I mean, and now Steph Curry. Look at Steph Curry. Some people want to put him ahead of LeBron for what he's done with the Warriors organization in the small amount of time he has. And you can call them a super team, but they built that team from the ground up. So when there's questions about the greatness of LeBron, there are players that you can legit compare to him in his era, in his prime, that could take a little bit of shine away from him. Like I just stated, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, and yes, I said to a lesser extent, Tim Duncan. But then you think about Michael Jordan. Like I said, during his era, nobody said Charles Barkley was better than Jordan. Nobody said Hakeem was better than Jordan. Nobody said whoever, Clyde Drexler or Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were still winning championships, but even they were saying Jordan is God in gym shorts. Larry Legend said that. So even the greats of that time were giving props to Michael Jordan. So he never really had that comparison during his time as a player in his prime. But that makes me think about one thing, and one thing that always is in the debate that always is used to try to take away from Jordan. And that is his own teammate, Scottie Pippen. there's no player, like I just said, there's no player that they compare to Jordan and say, oh, well, he was playing better than him, or he did more for his team, this, that, and the other. It was known across the books, known across the board. Michael Jordan was the greatest. But the only thing that diminished some of his greatness was the fact that he played along Scottie Pippen. And that's one of the debates, and that's one of the critiques of Michael's greatness, is that he had a quote unquote top 75 player in Scottie Pippen who did a lot of the work for Jordan, which they say, and was one of the big factors of them winning their championships, and him getting to those heights and him staying at that top level was having Scottie Pippen. So that's very interesting that LeBron in his era gets other players on other teams that kind of take away from his greatness, while Jordan's only argument for Jordan against Jordan is his own teammate taking away some of his greatness. And I think that's very rarely brought up, that he never had someone compared to him during that time. During his era, there was no one that we argue, well, so-and-so was better than Jordan, so he can't be the GOAT. There's never that argument when on sports media, on those morning talk shows, those radio shows, YouTube channels, content creators, you never hear them say, well, Charles Barkley was doing this, and he was leading his team to this, and Hakeem was doing this, and he led his team to this, or Shaq was doing this, and he led his team to this. No, it was, well, Jordan played with Pippen. That's the only argument that takes away and tries to diminish his greatness, is that he played with another great player. Meanwhile, LeBron played with a lot of them, but we're not going to go into that. But it's just weird to me that that's one of the arguments that is never made and never can be made when you're debating this. While you can bring up current players or players during LeBron's height and his prime that you can kind of say took some of his shine or did things that can diminish some of LeBron's greatness. But you can't do that with Jordan. The only person you can really use during that argument is Scottie Pippen, which was his own teammate, which is a weird assessment, that you take away someone's greatness because of who they played with, who after they didn't play, once they didn't play together, was not nearly as useful or not nearly as great as he may have seemed to be while they was playing with each other. So this was just a little short video I want to do. That's the one thing that we just never really focus on during Jordan's era, that he's never ever compared to anybody else in his era in a way that they're even equals to him. He's far above everyone, and the only diminishing factor that we can come up with in an argument is that he played with another great player. So whatever side of the fence you're on, that's great. But I just thought that was a cool little tidbit. Just thought I'd pass that along. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Only helps the channel, and I can do more of these. So if you, like I said, just like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And hopefully you guys will be around. I'll have some more content, more NBA playoffs. We're going to get into those NBA finals. We got free agency coming up, and of course the draft. So hope to see you guys back soon. GoatCast podcast out.